Hi everybody and good morning. Happy September 1st. It's officially September. Hard to believe it, right? It feels this morning like we're getting close to fall. It's all cool outside. But thank you all for being here with me today live. We're here for my intro psych classes, and I see all of you putting your names in the chat, which is perfect. Don't forget to put your first and last name in there somewhere, unless you're subscribed, and then you don't need to worry about it because I am able to download your names for being here to participate. But thank you so much for joining me. Can you hear me and see me? Okay, I can see my video on my end, but someone let me know if you can hear and see me just fine before we keep going. I got a yep, that's perfect. Good, at least one of you can hear and see me, so that's perfect. All good. Okay, wonderful. Thank you so much for letting me know. Great. Okay, lots of yeses. Okay, perfect. Yesterday I had some issues. I don't know about all of you, but I live in Simi, and the internet has just been awful for the last week or so. And so I've just been crossing my fingers that everything works smoothly for us. It's not good to have internet issues when you're teaching or taking a class online, right? But hopefully everything will cooperate. And again, very exciting. It's September. I'm very excited for this week. I have my first fantasy football draft tonight, 2 more tomorrow night, and then another one on Saturday. So I got a very busy week of football, which makes me very, very excited, right? Can never have enough football. It's been way too long. So yes, I'm very ready. I don't know what my draft order is, but I'm excited. And I get to go to Buffalo Wild Wings and eat lots of fun things, so that's fun too. But yes, right? I don't know if anyone else does fantasy football. I can't see your faces, but if you do, wish me luck, and I wish you luck on yours. And the rest of you who don't like football, I'm so sorry, because I will probably keep talking about it. But our plan for today, I will get myself back on track here. Our plan for today is I will talk a little bit about last week. So kind of a typical week for us. We're in week number 3, which is wild. It's going so fast. So I'll talk a little bit about week 2. I want to give you just a little bit of feedback about the discussion for last week. And then we'll take a look at the things that are due this week, right? We will look at the requirements and things that are due before Sunday night. And then I will give you, of course, the Twitch extra credit, talk about a reminder for the next stream, and then I'll end and see if there are any questions. So we'll follow a typical format. Next week, we might have a little bit longer session. We do have our first exam next week, so I'm going to spend a bunch of time next week talking about the test and how to prepare for that, how to take the exam, giving some tips. So if you're feeling at all anxious about that, I will spend lots of time next week going over some tips and strategies and things along those lines. So not a bad idea to start preparing and studying and reviewing a little bit. But for now, we'll focus on just this week, and then next week spend a lot of time talking about the exam. So let's go ahead and go over to Canvas together. Oh, let me put this reminder in the chat. I'm going to remind you every week, so just forgive me for that, but just to give you the same reminder, don't forget each week. So we're at 3.5 weeks at this point. And remember, those Twitch subscriptions only last for 30 days. So if you notice that you're getting ads, there's always going to be one ad at the beginning of our stream, but after that you shouldn't have any if you're subscribed. If you lose the little football or crown icon next to your name, you just need to go back and resubscribe. So just be checking that every week. I really appreciate those of you who do that. It makes my life so much easier not having to go and find your name and highlight it on a sheet, because I can just download it. So thank you so much, and please, again, don't ever pay for it. I don't want you to pay any more money in your life than you have to. So anyway, let's go over to Canvas and take a look. As I said, we're in week number 3. We're in September. I mean, I've been decorated for Halloween for a month, but still, now it's officially kind of this. Target is getting their Halloween stuff. They have all their candy out, so now it's okay. But I'm ahead of the curve. But anyway, week number 2 last week, we were looking at research methods. And I know it's not the most exciting topic for a lot of people, but I think research can be really interesting, and I hope that you found ways to connect with the material through the clips and things that I showed you. Oh, perfect. Okay. And remember, fan of yours, you said you should be able to get Amazon Prime. Remember, at the very beginning of the semester, I sent out an announcement about how to get free student Prime for 6 months. So again, I don't want you signing up for Prime just for me. I mean, I love my Amazon Prime. I order way too much from it. But you can get it for free as a student if you go back and check the announcements from week number 1. So again, please don't pay any kind of money for anything. You can always just follow me. I just want you to have a smooth experience, and I definitely appreciate the availability of downloading your names as well on my end. So, but we looked at those research methods. Discussion 2, let's take a look at this. Oh, okay, good. All right. I'm just making sure it wasn't just for me. So for last week, we were looking at if you could conduct research on anything, what would you conduct it on and why? And I have to tell you, the topics were all over the place, which is fantastic. You all came up with really interesting and wonderful things to research. A lot of people wanted to know different things related to serial killers. That was probably the most popular topic. A lot of questions related to mental illness, COVID related questions was very popular. Really just a whole variety. And I love that all of you thought about it and came up with fun, creative things. The biggest reason that people lost points was not giving me enough. Right, so I asked you what you'd be interested in studying and why, and some of you I said I wanted a little bit more, like tell me more. These discussions are really your opportunity to show off to me that you understand the materials and how to apply them. So make sure that you're really elaborating. If you find that you're losing a point or two every week, just try to give me a little bit more. And where I saw people could definitely give me more is in these first 2 questions. How would you examine your topic? So what are some of the things that you would do? If you were going to do an experiment, how would you set it up? If you were going to do a survey, what are some of the questions you might ask? And so I really, like a few of you, I put that comment in your feedback of make sure you give me just a little bit more. Otherwise, most of you did a wonderful job, right? A lot of like 12 out of 13 points, a lot of 13 out of 13. Don't forget to respond to a classmate, right? There's still a lot of you who aren't doing this consistently, and so just don't forget to do this every week. Those 2 points will definitely add up, and you don't want to be losing those very easy to get 2 points. So you can definitely make them up by doing these Twitch extra credits, but make sure that you are responding not only to my questions, but also to one of your classmates in order to get those full points. So again, overall, nicely done. I feel like a lot of you are kind of getting used to what I'm looking for in the discussions. Hopefully they will start to become, very comfortable and familiar. We'll do one every single week to follow that very similar, consistent format so you know what to expect. If we move on to this week we are looking at biological psychology. So we're looking at neurons and the nervous system and the brain and how all of our biological processes play a big role in how we function and the things that we do, the way that we think and feel, and so on. So make sure for this week that you read the chapter in the ebook. And again, if it were me, I would probably read the chapter first. So I'd read the chapter in the ebook, and then I would go and do the lecture and lecture video. But that's completely up to you, whatever feels comfortable. So make sure you read the chapter in the ebook. And then on here, I do have a lecture and a lecture video. And you really should be doing all these components in order to maximize your understanding and success on the exams, which we do, again, have our first one next week. So the first page, make sure you look at the summary, or you can listen to me reading it to you. Beyond the book, I have a couple of little tutorials in here that I think are really helpful. Now, they're not the most engaging and exciting, but I think they're really helpful for understanding the materials. So some on the 3 types of neurons, action potentials, some information about studying the brain, the 10% myth, which is definitely something you're looking at for your discussion this week. On the In Pop Culture page, there's a few things. There's a great example of neurons in The Walking Dead. I haven't watched it since it's come back. I need to get caught up. But a great example way back in season 2 of The Walking Dead when so many people were still around and Carl was all little. Right, it's a fun thing to watch. And then there's an example from Pinky and the Brain on the parts of the brain, and a little bit about the ALS Ice Bucket Challenge, which was popular, maybe about 5-6 years ago or so. Key terms in review. Here are all the terms that you need to know from chapter 3 for the exam. So if you wanted to start preparing, what you could do is look at this page for each of the chapters we've covered and make sure that you understand and could answer questions related to all of these different terms. So these are all the things that you'll need to know from chapter 3. And then the last page, application. Right now that I've read this, how could I apply it in some way? So a little bit about understanding the importance of experiences in spinal cord injury, and then drugs and different neurotransmitters. So make sure that you read through the entire lecture, watch any videos that I put in there, click on all the links. All of that is only going to just make it easier for you to understand. And then you should also be watching the lecture video that I have posted for you right here, chapter 3 lecture video. And this one is posted on YouTube because it didn't have any outside clips, so I was able to do that. If I play clips in there, then I'll just do a Zoom link. But make sure that you watch this, and you might consider taking notes, or just know that it's there for you if you wanted to go back and watch it again. So those are the 3 big things as far as like covering the materials, and you should be doing those every week, right? Reading the chapter, going through the written lecture, clicking on all those links and going through everything, and then watching the lecture video, which I post for you to highlight. And that would be what I would do in class if we were meeting in person. The other thing for this week is discussion number 3. So if we open that up for a moment here. Discussion number 3 is all about the different topics we're covering this week. What are neurons and why are they important? Referencing the specific chain of events and processes involved. How do neurons communicate with each other? I'm really looking for you to describe here to me the process that occurs when neurons communicate. Right, so make sure that you're mentioning the different elements of like electrochemical communication, and you will need to have read the chapter and watched the videos in order to do that successfully. You're also going to be reading an article. 3 articles on the 10% myth, and they're all very similar, so you can kind of read one in detail and then skim the other 2, whichever one you want to read, and the other 2 you can skim. But if you click on this, it'll take you to the different articles to read, talking about, do we really use 10% of our brain? I've also recorded these as audio if you would like to listen to it instead of read it. So that's an option for you as well. But make sure that you read the articles, and then the last 2 questions are regarding the articles. What are the origins and beginnings of the 10% myth? And give me 2 reasons or 2 pieces of evidence why we know that the 10% myth is false. So when you're ready to do that, once you have read all the materials and done the lecture and so on, you'll click reply right here, and that will allow you to respond to my questions. And again, make sure that you're responding in depth. Show off your knowledge, show off that you understand the materials. This is a great place to do that. And then you're also going to reply to one of your classmates. So if you scroll down, let's say that Taylor, I really like the way that Taylor describes something, I could click on reply, and then I could type my response to reply to Taylor's post. Or Esmeralda, or Christian, or Madison, right? So whoever you choose, you can read a few of them and pick one. Make sure that you're replying not only to me, but also to your classmates in order to get those 2 points. So it's 15 points, 13 of them are your post, and 2 of them are responding to a peer, which is very brief, just a couple of sentences responding to somebody in your class. So those are the big things for this week. I'll give you the Twitch extra credit question in just a moment. But again, just to put it on your mind, we do have our first exam next week. And as I mentioned earlier, I will take quite a bit of time next week to make sure that I talk about where that is and how to take it and tips for success. But if you wanted to start preparing, which I do think is a good idea, in each of the lectures that we've had so far. So again, remember on the lecture, that 4th page is the key terms and review. And these are all the terms from that chapter that you can expect to see on the test. So if you wanted to prepare, make sure you understand all of these, that you could define them. And again, I'll talk more about that next week. So the exams, I believe the first one, I'm trying to remember, I change them every time, but they're in the high 70s. So you have roughly about a minute per question on the exam. And some of them are true false, which are very fast. And some of them are multiple choice. There's also some matching. None of the questions are short answers. So it's all preparing for multiple choice, true false, and matching related questions. And the biggest thing, and again, I'll talk about this more next week, is that you need to study. You need to make sure that you're prepared. If you're trying to answer every question by looking things up, you're going to run out of time. So if you're trying to look up the answer for every single question, you're going to run out of time and it's going to be very tight for you. So make sure that you're preparing and studying like you would for a normal test. And then, yes, you're allowed to have your notes and your everything, your notes, the internet, anything at your disposal in front of you. But I would really encourage you to have that there as a backup or as a reference rather than something that you're looking everything up. If you're trying to look everything up, then you will definitely run out of time. Okay. Yes, so the study guide will open up next week. So the study guide, all the study guide is a compilation of all the terms listed in each chapter lecture. So for now, if you wanted to look at the study guide, all you need to do is look at each of the lectures, and you can, on that 4th page, get those terms. You can also go to the ebook site. I'll point this out to you really quickly. If you go to our ebook site and log in, let me just get there really quickly. There are a couple of resources on here that might be helpful for the exams. So up at the top up here, if you click on additional resources, these are things that I would traditionally use in class, but I did have the publisher put them on this website just in case I wanted to have access to them for other people. So if you go right here, the study guides and extra credit, you can actually access the full study guide on here as well. So the study guide, again, is just a compilation of all of those terms from each chapter. But if you wanted the actual document early, you could click on study guides and extra credit. Now, this extra credit isn't available to you. We're doing the Twitch sessions instead, which is worth way more, so be grateful for that. But this one does have the study guide. So here's study guide for exam number 1, and it has all of the terms from those lectures just put together in one place. And then it also has the 2 diagrams that you need to know after it. And you can print these if you wanted to, or download them. You know, either one is an option. But again, these are just the terms that are on these lectures. So it's up to you, but if you want that actual document, you can access it now on the ebook page. If you go back one more time here, up at the top at additional resources. And I think these are great. Like it has little flashcards on here. They're not very flashy. They're very simple and basic. You could also use something like Quizlet if you wanted to put the terms into there. I also have my PowerPoints on here without the pictures, and then a few other things that I would use in person should we have been in person this semester. But I just wanted to point that out to you in case you would like to access it. You can find it on there as well. Okay. Any other questions, thoughts, comments, anything for the moment? Any other questions at all? Again, I promise to take some good time for you next week and talk about the exam. But my biggest recommendation for now would be to start kind of reviewing and preparing a little bit, especially if you know next week's going to be busy for you. If you have a little extra time this week, you could always start preparing a little early. While I'm waiting to see if there are any questions, let me give you a quick reminder. Okay, good. I'm glad it all makes sense. I will never trick you on an exam. The exams are very straightforward. If you've been reading and studying and following along, you'll be in great shape. I want you all to do well. So I promise there will be no trick questions, nothing, really like artificially difficult. I wrote every question on the exam. So it's very connected to our materials. And if you prepare, you'll do wonderfully. Again, there's hopefully no surprises. Other than if it's your first test with me, might be getting used to that format and what to expect. But otherwise, hopefully you'll all do wonderfully, and then we'll move on until our next one in another 4 weeks. So what I wanted to remind you is our next Twitch, I'm putting this in the chat here, our next Twitch live stream will be on Wednesday next week. So Wednesday, 9/8. Hard to believe it'll be 9/8 next week at 8:30 in the morning. 8:30 a.m. So our next Twitch live stream, when I hopefully will see you all next, will be next Wednesday at 8:30 in the morning. And I hope you can join me. And if not, these are, of course, available to you afterward to watch on Twitch or on YouTube. So what I have done every week so far is I've posted a recording of our live stream. And I will do that today right here for you as soon as we're done. It takes a couple of hours. But I will definitely get that done for you so that you can watch it later if you missed it or if maybe you weren't able to catch all of it. And let me give you the Twitch extra credit question for today as well so that you have that. And this is something that hopefully will be helpful for you in the discussion this week. Is something you should be highlighting there. And so I'm just going to kind of give you another chance to think about it. Okay, so your Twitch extra credit question for week number 3 is in the chat. What is meant by electrochemical communication? Describe both pieces of how neurons communicate with each other. So if you look at the word electrochemical, there's 2 different things happening there. There's an electrical piece and a chemical piece. And I would like you to highlight and describe both of them. And you're welcome to use what you write from this also to help you with your discussion for this week. Hopefully you can kind of use both to help yourself and, kind of get 2 for 1, if you will. But what is meant by electrochemical communication? Describe both pieces of how neurons communicate with each other. And when you're ready to do that, you'll head back over to Canvas and you'll click on Twitch extra credit number 3 right here in week number 3. And then when you're ready, at the top, you'll hit Start Assignment in the blue. And it'll bring up a box where you can type your response. All right, so once you type your response, you just scroll down and hit Submit. And you get the confetti burst. There we go, right? I'll be so sad if they get rid of that. The little confetti burst to tell you that you have done that. And then if you need to add something later, you can always hit New Attempt. Up here at the top and add. So one advantage, if you do this early in the week, I often grade them throughout the week. And so if you answer it incorrectly, I will often in your comments say not quite, or maybe you're on the right track, you can still try again before the deadline. So this is due by Sunday night, but you can answer it at any time. And if you do it early, I often will catch any mistakes and can kind of help you and give you another chance. So don't forget to do the extra credit if you wanted those 2 points for joining me. Don't forget to do the reading, the lecture, and the video, and then also the discussion. Thank you, a couple of you just subscribed with Prime. Thank you for figuring that out, just as a quick side note. Thank you. And so other than that, I think those are the big things for this week. Again, if I could make the recommendation, start preparing a little bit for the exam. Just take the pressure off of yourself for next week. But that's totally up to you. Again, I'll talk about it quite a bit next week. Here, I'll put the question in here for you again. I'll just copy it one more time. I have it right here. So it was, what is meant by electrochemical communication? Describe both pieces, the electrical and chemical piece, of how neurons communicate with each other. Okay? Oh, perfect. Right. Thank you for putting that on there. Putting that on there as well. All right. Are there any questions at all? Is there anything that I can answer for you? Any questions or comments or thoughts related to this week or last week or anything with the class before we call it a day? If you need to go, we're kind of officially done with our time, and I'll see you next Wednesday at 8:30 in the morning. But if you have any questions, I will hang out for a little bit, and I'm happy to answer them for you. This is a great place to ask them. Excellent. Ooh, are those donuts? I'm like, are those donuts? I can't tell what those are. Where it said, nope, thank you, right? I'm like, I thought of donuts instantly, maybe because it's almost 9. I was like, ooh, I'll take some donuts. Never too early or late for a donut, right? Thank you all as well. I hope you all have a wonderful week. Sorry, I'm just reading all the comments. Thank you, like all of you. Thank you so much for being on here. I really appreciate you joining me live, right? I know that it's difficult to find the time and it's early in the morning, but thank you so much. The comments and your questions, it just makes it feel more like a class. So thank you for that. You remember when the trailer for Lucy was coming out? Yeah, right. I know it's been a few years now. It's definitely been a little bit. This is the first Twitch live that I caught. Are we supposed to put our name in the chat? Yes. So Crystal, if you, or Crystal Dragons, if you aren't subscribed, please do put your first and last name in the chat so that I can mark down that you were here. Thank you. Thank you for checking. You're welcome. Thank you all. Again, I appreciate your company. I wish we were meeting in person, but it's nice, and I'm just grateful that you're all here, and I'm excited to have our classes together, and I'm excited that it's September, right? Oh, thank you. Good. I'm glad that you feel good about the class, and thank you for saying I have great energy. I don't get enough sleep in life, so I'll take that compliment any day. When you have 3 little kids that wake you up all night, they make sleep they make sleep a challenge. We'll talk about sleep more in a couple of weeks, right? All right. Perfect. Thank you, Sophia. I see your name in there now. That's perfect. All right. And again, I'm going to minimize my video here in a second, but I will hang out for a little bit. No cats came to join me today, right? I don't know where all my... We let them out in the morning, and they've all taken off. They're all exploring. But hopefully they'll start joining us, right? I've gotten so used to them being in my streams with me. It feels weird that none of them came today. But have a wonderful week. Enjoy the weekend. I know, right? Me too. I'm wondering where they are too. Like, Rolly! Start calling my cats. See if they'll come out here. But otherwise, have a wonderful week, and I will see you all next Wednesday. I'm going to minimize my video, but I'll hang out here for a little bit if you do have any questions. Yeah, my cats will sometimes come and sit on my computer. I'm like, that's too close, guys. That's too close. You're welcome. Thank you as well for being on here. Have a wonderful day. It's Wednesday, but that's okay, right? It's beautiful weather outside at the moment. Have a wonderful day. Email me if you think of questions after we're done, or again, I'll be here for a few more minutes if you do have any questions at all. And I'm still here if any of you have questions. Again, otherwise I will just see you next week. And you can always email me as well if you think of something.